Hello, this is Matt from tracyandmatt.co.uk, and here I am with the Sony Xperia Go. Do a quick unboxing and demo video for you before we actually head off and do our full review. It's pretty much typical box design from Sony now. They've minimised the sort of amount of packaging, which is quite nice because the way it's sort of presented works quite well. So we have the handset on top. Just going to put that to one side. Going to come back to it in a second. On this side we have the startup guide, which is just one of these big pull-out leaflets showing you the basics of how to navigate through the home screen and turn power on and all that kind of stuff. There's a little addendum and the SAR information, and then we have a what's this, USB to micro USB sync charge cable. Pretty standard stuff there, nothing too out of the ordinary. Then inside the box, bottom bit of the box, a couple of bits. Let's get the box out of the way. Okay, so we have the charger, USB style, with this flippy out bit for the UK 3-pin plug, which means that see when that's packed in there, it lies nice and flat. Means that the box is nice and thin as well, so it helps to reduce packaging. Nice little design. And then we have the USB socket on the side. Plug it in the cable that comes with it, so we can charge the handset up. And there's a set of headphones, or a wired headset, I should say. Let's just take a look at those. And so it's got a right angle 4-pole 3.5mm jack, inline microphone with just a simple push button, fairly standard. And then some headphones on the other end, which are they're just the in-ear style rather than noise cancelling or anything like that. Kind of lightweight. Again, sure, you're going to want to use your own headphones rather than those supplied. Then we have a micro SIM adapter as well, so you can actually put a standard micro SIM inside a standard SIM, that kind of thing. So that comes with that as well. So let's take a look at the handset. The thing that's different about this, obviously there are quite a lot of handsets from Sony now that bear the Xperia brand name. The standout feature of this one, though, is that it's IP67 rated, which means, according to the information that Sony provided us, they rate it for 30 minutes of submersion in water. So obviously all these little covers and things like that, which we'll look at in a bit more detail in a second, are all rubberized and coated. So it does mean that it is waterproof and therefore to some degree, I guess, well, dustproof. Anyway, so take a look at the handset. 3.5-inch display on the front there, which is perhaps a little small. It's actually only 320 by 480 pixels, which I guess that's kind of a low resolution, really, considering the sort of panels that we're having in many of the smartphones now. So 320 by 480, I can't think of the last time I reviewed a handset that had such a low resolution, shall we say. There is a forward-facing camera, I believe, there as well, and obviously the ambient light and proximity sensors and all that kind of stuff at the top there. The speaker on the front too. Then we have the 3 capacitive touch buttons underneath, so back, home and menu, and the little hole there on the side is the microphone. You'll notice that there's sort of a matte finish to the actual outside. It's sort of well, it's not quite rubberized, it's sort of a matte paint almost, because it's partly to do with the waterproofing and stuff like that, but it's got sort of a textured finish. It does kind of feels a little strange actually in the hand, but it's something you get used to, but it's got a matte finish rather than a glossy finish to it on the outside. So at the top, first of all, we have a cover over the 3.5mm headphone socket, which so we can plug in our own headphones or indeed the wired headset that comes with it. It has a little grommet around it as well, and when we pop it in place it kind of clicks and that keeps it waterproof. On the bottom, really nothing to see. There's a little eyelet there for a phone charm or a lanyard, and on the right hand side, an up and down volume control, and then another cover over the micro USB sync charge connector. Again, that's got a rubber grommet around the outside of it as well to keep that waterproof. I don't think I'd rely upon it, but at the same time I guess it just is a little bit I wouldn't want to put this in water deliberately, but if it accidentally goes in, I guess you've got a little bit of protection. On the back we have a 5 megapixel autofocus camera with an LED flash, and there's a little grill there which is the loudspeaker. Swing around to the top, we just have a simple power button. Back cover I think just peels off like so. There we go. And notice that back cover itself isn't the bit that's waterproof. because the back cover underneath we have all these bits for the actual battery and all that kind of stuff is all sealed in here. There we go. So we've got the space for micro that's the micro SD card. So an SDHC memory cards up to 32 gig, and then here at the side there we have a SIM card tray using full size SIM cards there. That's about it really that we can get to underneath there. Let's just pop the back cover back on, and it kind of just clips into place, so you don't rely upon the actual back cover in order to make it waterproof. And it does keep the SIM card and the micro SD sort of discreetly covered up underneath the back cover, so that's kind of cool. Let me just see if we can put power on. I'll run down the spec for you. Quad band for GSM and driver band for HSDPA, so roaming won't be too much of a problem with this handset. Size 111mm from top to bottom, just over 60mm wide and 9.8mm thick. It does seem quite slim. It's not very heavy, only 110 grams, but I think because of its condensed size it does feel a bit weightier. We looked at the ZTE Grand X yesterday, in fact. Well, that's a 4.3 inch display, much larger handset, and it is also only 110 grams, so just to give you a bit of a comparison. As I say, the display 320 by 480 pixels, relatively low res, I think is fair to say. IP67 certified for dust and water, so you can submerge it in 1 meter depth of water for up to 30 minutes. That's what it's rated for. 8 gig of internal storage. There's a 4 gig version available, and to be honest with you, I'm not sure which I have here, but there's 4 and 8 gig versions available. 5 megapixel autofocus camera on the back, supports geotagging and 720p video recording. Bluetooth 3.0 with HTTP and EDR support, and then Wi-Fi supporting 802.11bg, and then standards Wi-Fi Direct, DLNA and Wi-Fi hotspot modes. The operating system, well, this one has shipped, I believe, we're going to confirm that in a moment, but shipped with Android OS 2.3 Gingerbread, which is a bit of a shame, but again there's a planned upgrade to Ice Cream Sandwich version 4 in the works. It's kind of a shame that it's shipped with 2.3. I think that does put people off somewhat, certainly with some sort of past experience of the Sony Xperia, the X10 and the X10 Mini being so well held up in terms of operating system upgrades. Nevertheless, that's what we've got on here. The chipset is Nova Thor U8500, dual core 1 GHz ARM Cortex A9 processor, and a Mali 400 GPU. We've got accelerometer, proximity sensors, ambient light sensors, and all that kind of stuff. There's a stereo FM radio with RDS, and finally we have GPS, supporting assisted GPS, and obviously that works with the geotag and all that kind of stuff. So it gives you sort of a bit of an overview of specification. So, swiping to unlock, as we do, you'll see that once it comes on, select language, read all this stuff, and to be honest with you, the display isn't too terrible considering its resolution. Okay, so we start up with the home screen. So we've got the Google search with voice search and the time icons at the bottom. We can see here, I'm not sure what the first one is. I think that's a folder with compass, walkmate, figure running, my coach, and a torch. And with the play icon, then the launcher, so we have all the applications there, which we'll come back to in a moment. Text messaging, I believe that is there. Yeah, messaging. And then the actual phone dialer, which is a reasonable size. Capacitive touchscreen works quite well. We can swipe across, and then we have music and videos. Looks like we have some samples on here. So we've got some sample music, so we can actually play through those. And then we have a photo stream of a couple of sample photos. Video unlimited, music unlimited, track ID, and a recommender. If we come back the other way, we have a friend stream, or timescape as it's called, obviously on here, because it is the Xperia feed. And then we have weather, and you have the thing for turning on the backlight brightness, I'll set to maximum. Synchronize airplane mode, auto sync, GPS, roaming, blah 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 blah. Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, which can turn Wi-Fi on in just a second. And that's it. That's all we have there. So if we push the menu button here at the side, we can go into settings, wireless and networks, turn on the Wi-Fi, go into Wi-Fi settings, and we'll go and connect to our Wi-Fi network. So let's tap on there. We have a pretty straightforward QWERTY keyboard, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. We'll go ahead and connect to that network. Let's say, there we go, connected. That was pretty quick. I know that some handsets actually do seem to take a while to connect to a Wi-Fi network, but that was pretty quick. While we're in here, we'll just take a look. Well, we've got Facebook integration there. Now what I'm looking for is about phone. There we go. So you've got Android version 2.3.7. So this one hasn't been shipped with the ICS update, which is a shame. But you can see all the information about that there, and check for updates and all that kind of stuff. So back here, let's take a look at the installed applications. So we've got contacts, phone, messaging browser, all that kind of stuff is pretty straightforward. Also got the timescape there with it being the Xperia handset, and all this stuff looks like it's pretty standard. My coach, that's obviously a bit different. Figure Runner, Walkmate, are just specific to this handset. We've got a McAfee security pre-installed, that's kind of cool. Google Plus and the Astro file browser, again quite useful. Update center and clock, compass and liveware. So from here, let's take a quick look at the browser and see how that performs. So rather than going there, we're going to go to our site. The capacitive touchscreen is really quite good. It's nice and sensitive. Doesn't require hardly any pressure on display to actually make it work. So there we go. Well, it's loading really quite quickly. Obviously, I'm using broadband and a Wi-Fi connection, but page loaded really quite fast, rendered quite quickly, and we're done. So you're not going to be able to read the text, the small text there on this display. It just can't quite hack it. Double tap to zoom in, and that works quite nicely. We can obviously rotate this way, and it rotates really quite quickly. So in the landscape orientation, that works okay. Not too many problems with that. And we double tap to zoom in and zoom out. Two finger zooming, obviously because we've got multi-touch supported. So that works quite well. Zooming and scrolling is quite smooth, and switching between landscape and portrait mode is pretty rapid. But it's a standard browser implementation, so one would expect it to be pretty quick, and it's well tried and tested. Let's take a look at YouTube, and we'll search for my video content. So I've got Leo D unboxing, Leo D being my YouTube alias. So let's pick the pick something in here. Okay, let's pick something old. There we go. Let's pick that one. Okay, so that's loaded and buffered pretty quickly and started playing quite quickly. Turn into this orientation, so it switches between full screen and partial screen. You've got related and comments and stuff underneath. Again, it's a standard implementation of the YouTube client, which is very good on Android handsets anyway, and it works rather well. But the buffering and loading time was very quick there, so that's pretty good. Going back to what we have installed, let's go ahead and actually come back out here. We can do it through here. We're going to log into Google Play. We're going to add an account now. So I'm going to sign into my Google account and wait for that to just sign in. I quite like the keyboard here. It's working quite well. Quite happy with it. And as I say, the touchscreen is nice and sensitive, and display is actually really quite clear. It's quite impressive. So we'll accept those. Yeah, the display is really quite good. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to search for, you probably guessed it by now, Quadrant. We're just going to download and install Quadrant Standard Edition. And notification here at the top showing that it's downloading and installing There you go, successfully installed. So just quickly run this to see how well the Xperia Go benchmarks and how well the dual-core 1 GHz processor performs. So let's just run through some quick tests. So CPU tests first, which are some of the most boring bits because obviously they don't show much on the screen other than, well, just an update there. So we'll just wait for that to skip through. It shouldn't take too long to actually go through and see how much it's assisted by the GPU and the fact that it's running a dual core. So I'm kind of nearly there with the CPU stuff. There we go, so onto memory and I/O. Shouldn't take too long either. That's when we get to the graphics, so we kind of see something interesting on the screen. There we go, so we're running at 43 frames a second there, which isn't too shabby. And 60, so you get around the corner, it'll probably go down. There we go, 50, 60 frames a second there. So that's performing quite well. I suppose bearing in mind that it's a lower res screen. That's struggling a little, it stuttered a bit at the beginning. That's around 60 frames a second too. And the last one, 36 frames a second. 35, 36 frames a second. There we are. So let's see our results. Where's our device? There we go. So 2243. That's actually a reasonably good performance from this handset. Say a dual-core 1 GHz processor. That's comparing quite well. Obviously, at the top we've got the HTC One X and a transformer, which are both quad-core, which are almost twice as fast, which I guess you'd kind of expect. That gives you an idea. When we do our review, we'll run the benchmark a few times anyway to get a much more realistic comparison. In terms of what else we've got in here, it's all pretty straightforward stuff. So I think we'll leave it there as being sort of a quick overview of some of the a few of the other key features on the handset and the handset itself. So this has been the Sony Xperia Go. Keep saying Sony Ericsson, kind of used to that, but it's the Sony Xperia Go. Thanks to Clove Technology for providing our review handset. So if you like this, check it out over at clove.co.uk, where these are currently in stock, and actually they're a pretty good price. They're under £200 for the handset, which is pretty good because say it's waterproof and got some good features on there anyway. So go to clove.co.uk and check it out. In the meantime, if you want to follow us on Twitter, it's twitter.com/TracyandMatt or facebook.com/TracyandMatt.co.uk. Those details, if you need them, are in the intro slide of this video. And I'll be back soon with some more videos and reviews on TracyandMatt.co.uk. But for now, thanks for watching.